Harry's playing dress up in Bobby's turnouts, giving Athena the worst jump scare of her life.
Buck is manically making snickerdoodles to feel connected to Bobby.
And Eddie is going through the trials and tribulations of grief, religious trauma, and looking NSFC, not safe for church.
Have you ever watched something that completely rewired your brain chemistry?
A procedural network drama might not be your usual pick, but it's ours.
This is The Buddy System, a 911 yapathon hosted by 3 friends who have DM'd each other enough character dissertations to earn a PhD in media literacy.
I'm Han, coming to you straight from the characters' heads.
I'm Sil, bringing you to the observation deck.
And I'm Rachel, connecting the dots with my red string.
With our powers combined,
no stone is left unturned.
And no buddy is left behind. Welcome to The Buddy System.
This is our 3rd special episode covering Season 9. And today we're talking about
Season 9, Episode 5, Dia de los Muertos, written by Christopher Monfett and M.E. Savard, directed by Keith Tripler, and the director of cinematography is P.J. Russ.
Yay!
Yay!
Everyone,
Yay!
Say happy birthday to Sil because this is her birthday episode.
Yay! And it had to be this episode.
It did.
The one where I'm crying.
They delivered,
Well,
though. It gave you a really nice gift.
They really
did.
A nice gift?
Yeah.
How about an emotional, like, oof.
Nice. Yeah, but still
They
nice.
appeased the water sign in me, I guess.
It's true.
All the emotions. Honestly, it gave me a lot on my wish list. Eddie A plot, number 1. Serving face, number 2. And having a wide range of things to do during this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So really, thank you for the gift. He really does do it all. He's like Barbie.
Oh, man.
What?
No, that was incredible. That just
It
really
was.
tickled me.
I was just picturing him in different outfits. Like the different iterations of Barbie. Lawyer Barbie.
Listen, he was out
Paramedic
here
Barbie.
acting as paramedic. He was acting as acting paramedic or actor.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was doing a lot during the dead guy call.
Community
He
theater.
was. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, shall we get into our review of this episode?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. At the risk of 3 episodes in a row saying no notes, perfect episode. No notes, perfect episode. Like, I don't.
We are 5 for 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, what worked well? Literally everything. Like, first of all, the most nuanced episode of like network television I've ever seen discussing religion. That comes from someone with a nice heaping serving of religious trauma. So I think that I'm a good judge of what is like well handled, religious storylines.
Look, I enjoyed everything about this episode, especially Han touched on the religious trauma because I also have some of that going around.
Some of that.
A lot of that from the Catholicism bucket. But I also enjoyed how they explored grief and how it can be so ugly and to a point where our characters can reach other healthier connections to explore that grief. So I don't know. Like that episode was really beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I really have no notes, man.
Yeah. Especially the way in which they showed, how, and they're doing this like throughout the season, how the different ways in which how people handle their grief. So this was just another facet to that as well. Yeah, I mean, those 2 points are pretty much like the crux of the episode, but also the camera work, the cinematography on this episode was so fun and dynamic. I keep thinking of the pumpkin call, the giant pumpkin, inflatable pumpkin terrorizing people of downtown LA. So I was thinking about that call and just like the way the camera was like whipping from like one thing to another. It's just like so funny.
It was very like action movie kind of
that sequence
reminiscent. That's what
really
I
was.
like, just on all the calls. Like it was so much more like movement and like more cuts than I think we normally get. And I don't know, it was just a lot of fun.
And to that extent as well, I think they balanced the tone in the writing really well. It's so hard to kind of balance out an episode where you're talking about really kind of like heavy but very nuanced topics like religion and grief. So you need something to bring a little bit of levity into that. And that is kind of what 911 does so well with the emergency calls. And that pumpkin call was fantastic for that. I think we were laughing the entire time. There was also humor in the guy who thought he was dead but wasn't. So, just like a little.
It's actually all humor.
Yeah.
That was all levity.
Yeah. So like the way that this was written to look at all of these nuanced things of grief, religion, death, and just like have such a balanced mixture of it where it didn't undermine or
detract.
Yes. Or detract from the heart of the episode. Like it wasn't distracting. It actually helped bring it closer.
Yeah, I'm just going to comment a little bit on I guess how it was structured and put together.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way the episode was structured and put together, I think they put the calls where they needed to. They put the levity where they needed to. I love how, we get the monologue at the beginning and the end, celebration sequences. Like they were just, I think, I don't want to call it a perfect episode, but I have, again, no notes.
Yeah. Also, just like the beginning and ending monologues where Eddie is standing still in this crowd of people, like coming in, like surrounding him with the Katrina parade. That is some of the most beautiful like shots that we've gotten in this series. I think it was so impeccable, just like and really got the vibe of the episode right off the bat to open with that. I think was an incredibly smart decision because it puts you right into this kind of like, I don't want to say spooky, but like the vibe that they were going for, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The way everything was lit, the color grading for those moments, again, at the beginning and the end there.
Gorgeous.
Were just gorgeous. And also like props to the makeup and wardrobe departments because it looked so good.
I don't have a note, but I do wonder, should we, if we want to take a moment to discuss this real quick, Abuela's death.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like online it's a little divided in terms of saying it didn't need to happen. I'm personally on the camp of it happened, and I'm not upset at it because I think it did what it needed to do.
Yes.
We were talking about this at like, wait, I can't remember if it was you and me. Were you and I talking about it while we watched it today? Still, like after we watched it, or was I talking about it with the three of you? We were talking about it yesterday. I can't remember.
We talked about it yesterday.
We've been talking about this almost nonstop.
Basically for 24 hours.
Yeah. Over.
Yes.
But yeah, I think I said basically the TLDR of it was that I understand why it's upsetting to add another loss onto Eddie, the character who's had the most loss other than I think Bobby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I think he's had more. It just wasn't like his immediate family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If like you are counting his,
the team in
army
Afghanistan.
Team, yeah.
I think he was in that opening monologue. So.
Yeah. So to add on to it, I understand like, oh, we don't want to add more pain, but like, unfortunately, like that's what telling stories is about. It's like you have to put them through things to make the growth happen. That's just how life works. So that's how stories work. And I really think that the way that they did it and the results we got from it, and I'll talk about this a little more later, was just so well done. And like still said, it did what it needed to. And I don't think it would hit the same. I don't think that the messaging that they did for Dia de Muertos and just Eddie's emotional journey in this episode would have hit the same without that.
Yeah. It really, the culmination of all this is that last shot of him and him smiling.
Yeah.
And I think that for me leaves a pretty big impact. And I think we will be getting into it a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
So
I'll just say here, I think character deaths, when they're done for a reason, have the opportunity to be very impactful. And I think this was one of those. It was tasteful in the way in which it was handled. And I think will end up, and we already saw this like at the end of the episode, will end up propelling Eddie's character further because of it. So there is a reason.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the takeaway for that.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just a willy-nilly, let's just take her off the board. It was like, this will be for a very specific reason, and they're going to follow through on that for what it means for Eddie's character going forward.
Agreed.
Especially because we know like death changes people. Hello. We've been talking about that since 8:15. So we have to look at it in like, how will Eddie take this death and like, what will he do with it? What will it mean for him? And I think that it will mean a lot. Agreed. Just like a very general statement words.
And I don't really, we try and do this section in which we haven't really been able to use yet of like what could have worked differently or better. And we love giving constructive criticism because we have a lot of ideas.
We do.
There's definitely things they could have done differently.
But would it have been better? I don't know.
Maybe there's things that maybe could have been done better, but we're not the people to say to like, if there were details that were not represented totally correctly for Dia de Muertos or things like that. But like from a storytelling perspective and our experience, I'm just like coming a blank. More of it. You could have made it a longer episode. I would have been happy.
Yeah.
I would have watched 2 hours of that easy.
Yeah, we could have kept going for sure.
Easy.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nashville. Not sorry.
It's okay. Nashville can take Grey's Anatomy slot.
Yeah.
Is that mean?
No. That show is geriatric, it's...
What are they on? 22? 23 seasons?
I think it's 23.
Jesus. Wow.
Yeah. That'll be us one day. Manifesting 23rd season of 911. Okay, so we have a special section for this episode. We're live streaming right after the episode, and we asked to hear thoughts specifically, like from any Mexican or Mexican American buddies.
Yeah.
Basically to see, like what they thought, because like we loved it, but obviously like we don't come from the Mexican or Mexican American culture. So we wanted that perspective, and they gave us we have 4 like really nice 4 buddies who gave us some really cool input that we're gonna dive into a bit.
I think we were speaking with most of them during our post-episode live stream, and we invited them to give us their opinions and thoughts and perspectives in more of a long form than just like the little comments. Yeah. So they've each sent us like a little blurb, and I think they all said like it was okay for us to share, of course, and we'll give credit for each of these people and social media handles if they so chose to include those. And yeah, we just want to...
I think we just wanted to open the floor to have those opinions and voices heard, whether it be like they loved it or if they have any criticism. We wanted to maintain that respect to have this out there, because I think it's still important to hear from Mexican and Mexican American buddies of ours, for their perspective.
So I think we really just wanted to like defer kind of to their opinion first and foremost on how the culture was represented in this episode. So with that,
so our first blurb is from Alexandria, and she said, "I'm Mexican American. I am half just like Eddie. The similarities of me and this character are insane. From Texas too, where I had similar religion ups and downs like Eddie. I'm still working on my religious beliefs currently, so I do believe in certain things that come from religion and spirits. So I do celebrate Dia de los Muertos. Also, I'm still learning every year a little more about the holiday and my Mexican culture, so I may not be the best at explaining. I really loved this episode. I think I was able to take Abuela's death a little bit better than I thought I would because of how beautifully it was handled. I thought they portrayed the holiday in a great way that you don't really see from TV. I know I said it in the live reaction too, but I still have my ofrenda up, and being able to see a character I love connect even more to something that's so real for me truly made me tear up. I was obviously devastated by Abuela dying, not saying I wasn't, of course, but I think because of the main focus of Dia de los Muertos for me and why I love the holiday is it's truly about celebrating those that have passed and lifting the memories of those you have loved and lost up and channeling the beauty in it all. So it's as if they truly are still there. Also, just a way to feel connected still there is something about the way it feels like opening a door and then just allowing your loved ones to come in again.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Which is very beautiful.
Yeah.
Some of these made me tear up.
I know. They're like, these are really beautiful words like, coming from everyone.
Next, we have Irv at crazy Latino underscore boy.
Who does beautiful art, by
Who
the
does
way.
beautiful art. I was like, oh my God, you're here. And he said, thank you for giving me the chance to talk about this. I love the episode, the way it was handled and how they depicted Eddie's relationship with Catholicism at the end. And then him finding community with his culture was really beautiful. I love Eddie so much. And a really big reason for it is because of how much of myself I've seen in him and how our experiences are so similar. I'm a born and raised queer Latino from Texas who grew up mostly in a Catholic household. I was the oldest, and just like Eddie, there were times I had to be the man of the house. Let me start with the Catholicism of it all. I truly see what they were trying with Eddie and the storyline, just like Eddie. I have my own complicated relationship with religion, and at times have left it, but now have somewhat of a relationship with it and spirituality. I can tell that Eddie is not 100% on board with most of Catholicism, like me, the whole organized religion. And it's definitely shown that it might not be the thing Eddie needs fully. I think just like me, Eddie finds comfort in some of the things, mostly in prayer aspect and finding comfort in it. And at the end, he was looking for connection and love, and he does find it by honoring our culture and where we came from. In the Latino community, spirituality is something heavily a part of our culture. Even people I know who aren't religious anymore in my community still have a great deal of respect for it. For example, Dia de Muertos is a day both religious and non-religious, celebrated to honor the loved ones. And we saw at the end of the episode what I think spirituality is going to look like for Eddie going forward, finding aspects of Catholicism comforting while also finding comfort in our cultural traditions. And as a queer practicing Latino, I think it's great to show that. He is letting himself grieve in his own healthy way, and I truly see that this could definitely open the door to Eddie having a deep self-reflection and stripping away the walls he's built and finding the love that Abuela told him he was looking for. Okay, Eddie. Let me just say that Eddie means so much to me. He's someone I look up to, someone who reminds me I can always grow to be better, that I don't have to repeat the same mistakes from the past. He is who I want to be when I'm older.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Oh my God.
I love that.
Stop making me
so
cry.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That really resonated with me a lot because kind of the same thing. The raised in Catholicism. I'm not Mexican, obviously, but I am Peruvian. So there's stuff there.
Overlap.
There's some overlap, but yeah.
That's beautiful. I'm so sorry. You guys are going to see me more emotional in this episode than you've ever seen me in any other one because it's just like, it hits really close to home because of like the religious aspect of it. And like, it was just done so well.
Yeah.
As shown by like the like happy tears and being moved and not me angrily talking about it. Because if it hadn't been done well, you would have been hearing from me.
How can I send Tim flowers, man?
I know.
Well,
would you like an edible arrangement?
We would be happy to send an edible arrangement. Thanks for
Okay.
making us cry.
We loved it.
Well, Tim, Christopher Monfort, and Emmy Savard. Thank
Yeah.
you for
Addressed to the 911 writers room.
Yeah.
Here you go.
There you go.
No, like actually, we
maybe
should
for
look
all of
into
them.
that. Yeah. The congrats on an amazing
Oh my God.
9A.
Oh, okay. I think I'm back. All
It's
right.
okay. We can take little
I know.
cry breaks when we need to. It's fine.
Okay, so our next one is from Quincy, and she said, I really did love the episode and the way that Dia de Muertos was depicted. I feel like it honored this tradition without turning them into a spectacle. Seeing Eddie taking steps to embrace the cultural relationship that we have with death felt like a powerful statement. Did they get everything right? Not exactly. Traditionally, Abuela and Bobby shouldn't be on the altar because they haven't been gone a full year yet. But honestly, considering Eddie is Mexican-American, it makes sense. He has probably grown up with these traditions shown to him, but not being told every rule. The way this was presented, imperfect but heartfelt, made it feel all the more real. Signed, a Mexican born in the USA who has lived in a border town for all but 4 years of her life.
I really appreciate that little tidbit about the ofrendas.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know they had
I
to
didn't know that
be
either.
passed away for a full year.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure there's more reason related to that as well.
Yeah, I'm
But-
sure there's a lot of other details that that the episode probably did not explore properly, or maybe, because of constraints or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's good to know that, one, there is that detail, and two, that
Yeah.
regardless, it's still, and like she said, it wasn't turned into a spectacle, or I don't know, like a caricature of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I can appreciate that.
It may not have been 100% accurate, but the spirit of it, for
Yeah.
lack of a better word, sorry, was in the right place.
Yeah.
Or the heart was in the right place for that.
Yeah.
Then we have our buddy Kenny, and you can find Kenny at Kenny Rosa. Kenny said, I watched the episode as a Mexican person, having moved from their home country to the US almost 20 years ago, who was raised Catholic, but did not necessarily have the religion forced upon them. Similar to Eddie, I actually distanced myself from Catholicism around the age of 13 or 14, but our family still participated in what we call posadas. All this to say that there were certain things we did that are part of Catholicism without being practicing Catholics. In a way, since the religion was such a big aspect of my life during my youth, as I walked away from it, celebrating Dia de los Muertos was also something I didn't partake in for several years. There are several aspects of the organized religion side of Catholicism that never sat right with me, mainly their views on, shocker, the queer community, but also the disabled community.
Mm-hmm.
I'm legally blind, and in a way, I think that outside his personal experience, Eddie doesn't want to introduce Chris to religion or Catholicism just yet. It has been my experience, both personally and as an outsider, that several religions view disability in any form as something that must be cured rather than something that should be accepted or accommodating to. Maybe it's something Eddie also didn't like about, therefore he wasn't going to subject his son to it either. The episode not being entirely about celebrating Dia de los Muertos, but rather about Eddie reconnecting with that part of his culture after losing his abuela, made complete sense to me for both his character and just narratively speaking, as they took the thematic approach for the significance of the title. They said Day of the Dead, in quotes. They said Day of the Dead and showed Buck and Athena speaking to Bobby through objects. The headless horseman guy's costume was of a figure related to death. The scarecrow guy thought he was dead because of the accident. Hell, the vampire girl was dressed as an undead creature. And then there's the guy that was hiding in Buck's attic who had disappeared. So, in a way, he was dead to society, more or less. And obviously, there's Abuela, Shannon, and Bobby. In short, I liked the episode in general, and they did a good job with the Dia de Muertos stuff. So yeah, from my perspective, even if the episode wasn't completely about the celebration, the events within it and the fact that Eddie's story was the A plot of the episode, was a good reason for the title, which I really appreciated what Kenny was saying about, kind of postulating on the church's view towards disabled people as well, because that is part of Eddie and Christopher's story.
Yeah.
And could absolutely play a factor in
why Eddie doesn't want to force Christopher to participate in this kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was a great piece of insight that I wouldn't have thought of otherwise.
Yeah.
And I really like what they said about the different visages of
the visage. I don't know. Who knows English anymore? I don't.
I'll just learn Spanish.
See.
Which
is the only thing I can say when I'm not on the spot.
How do you say the buddy system in Espanol?
Coño, I don't fucking know.
Okay, let me
sistema de los... Ay, ¿qué
Buddy.
Será? Fucking buddy. Like, what is buddy in Spanish? Los compadres? Like, what is it? Wait, hold on.
Well, no, it's still Buddy because it's the name.
Yeah, because it's the name. Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I spelled buddy. Buddy in Espanol. Compañeros. Here we go. El sistema de compañeros. No. ¿Qué? Yeah. El sistema de compañeros.
Sistema what?
El sistema de compañeros.
El sistema de compañeros.
Not bad. Good job.
Thank you. Okay, I'll keep practicing.
You're just getting trained now.
I'm trying.
I was like, compadres? What this is? It's compañeros. My bad.
Compañeros. Got it. So I also really liked what they said about the different representations of death and stuff, with all the different examples, like Buck and Athena talking to Bobby through objects, the guy who was dead to society, and the other guy who thought he was dead but wasn't.
Yeah,
like that was really like deep conceptual.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it because like we don't, for these special episodes, we're not really doing like themes. Because we're like trying to save like the crux of the stuff that we do for the rewatch for the
3 years from now.
But like, had we written down the themes, that would have been probably really obvious to us. That like, oh yeah, they carried this theme over to everyone's storyline, like not just Eddie's. So
yeah, that was
cool.
That was really, really cool to point out. So thank you everybody for
thank all of you so much for sharing with us. We really appreciate it. And like we love hearing from our listeners all the time, but like especially if you have a perspective that is from a group that we are not a part of, we especially really appreciate hearing it then.
Any just like blanket statement kind of anytime.
Yeah, like anytime. Okay. Shall we get into some character moments?
We shall.
All right. So we are opening with Miss Athena Grant. My highlight for her was, I guess, the symbolism of she's basically letting Harry stay with her, but it's what she says, like what she was using that guest room for, which was like a place to shove things that she, I guess, didn't really want to examine. And she would like close the door and forget about them. And so like she goes to the closet. She was like showing Harry, hey, I have a closet here that you can put stuff in. And lo and behold, she encounters Bobby's old belongings.
In a box. Just like Emmett's.
She can't unpack.
Oh, no.
So.
Oh my God.
That was my highlight.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot we can read into stuff with that. Just keep that in the back of your mind. My highlight was, I think May says it. She's like, was it a discussion? So this discussion, which is basically just like a compromise that between Athena and Harry of like, okay, Athena's going to be open-minded about Harry joining the LAFD in exchange for Harry living under her roof. And I kind of loved that. I thought that was so Athena, just generally Athena, and a great way for them to kind of work on rebuilding their relationship a little bit. So I like that they're kind of putting them together again in that way.
Yeah. the moment for Athena for me in this episode was when she finally talks to Bobby. Because the last time we saw her doing this was like to like the like specter of him that she was seeing in her mind in 816, I think. Yeah. And at the beginning of the season we get her saying like, I don't want to talk about him, I want to talk to him.
Yes.
So I think after the events of episode 4 of season 9, she's finally at this point now where like she feels like she can talk to him again. And it was just beautiful to me and just hilarious because it was like, how she talked to him. And I think it helped her, and I think it's gonna help her and Harry move forward together.
Yeah. It's her working through her stuff.
Yeah.
She talked to his turnouts like she would talk to him.
Yeah. It was the I can't forgive you for that. Not like I can't forgive you that, but
yeah, she was like, I don't know if I'll ever forgive you for that, but she was like laughing while she said it.
Yeah.
Smiling. Yeah.
That's really beautiful.
It was.
So Ravi, loved seeing Ravi in this episode, the way that they used him. My highlight was I loved Ravi completely and totally having Buck's number with knowing that Buck would absolutely do like a process of elimination of all of the ingredients and spices in alphabetical order. He just like says it like it's fact. And the moment we heard that, we were just like, wait, yeah, that's exactly what Buck would do. Like he knows Buck.
Yeah.
And I think that also really shows like how their relationship has progressed.
My highlight, if you can guess it, was Raggedy Andy over here showing up in that whole getup, ready to party.
Incredible. He was ready to party.
He really was.
He looked great.
Why did he look so good in the Raggedy? You possess too much power. You're too pretty. It's not right.
He was ready to go to a party dressed as Raggedy Andy. Like no shame.
He said it worked for him.
I'm sure it does.
I think whatever he would have dressed up as would have worked for him. So you know,
Raggedy Andy. God,
it was a throwback.
So my moment for Ravi in this episode was adjacent and related to Raggedy Andy. It's like in that scene when he shows up and Buck's like, yeah, I lied about us going out to get you to here. And then there's the Ouija board. And, before Buck can even say why, again, he has his number, like Rachel said.
Yes.
And it's just like, yeah, because you want to talk to Bobby because you think he's haunting your house. Buck's like, yeah.
Again, just says it as fact.
Yes. It's not a question. It's like, no, I know you. You're not mysterious.
You are so transparent right now and always.
But yeah, so it was that, but like also just that he did it. He went along with it because, as he said, he felt like Buck needed it. So he was just put himself through that to be there and be a good friend.
Yeah. It was really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Ready for Maddie?
Yeah. So my moment for Maddie in this episode was kind of like the first one because she kind of just like jumps right into being big sister mode and just like terrorizing him.
As she should.
Because Buck's like, I have squirrels in my attic, I think. And she's like, or maybe it's a ghost. And he's like, no, it's squirrels. And she's like, or ghost squirrel.
JLH brought the energy.
She did.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, maybe there's some sort of like, I'm sensing sort of spiritual, like there's like some sort of adjacent ghost whisperer reference.
There funny. Really was.
But yeah, it was just like classic big sister, tormenting little brother stuff. And I, as big sister who torments little brothers, appreciate that always.
I love when we get to see their like silly rapport like that.
Yeah.
That's always just like a shining moment.
My highlight goes along with this, actually, her being big sister and also just getting Buck to unpack some of those feelings, just in general. I mean, I know there's other stuff. There's lots of stuff to get into, so I'm not going to do it here. But like, this is like the second or third. I don't know, man. But like specifically, this is another unpacking reference, and she's really slowly but surely, not as slowly but surely, she's gently trying to nudge her brother into doing some healthy coping mechanisms.
It's hard work.
She's trying, man.
She's trying without obviously bonking him in the head with it, which I appreciate. He does need to figure out his own shit without people spelling it out for him.
Yeah, I think she's learned that in these kind of instances, bonking him on the head with it is not productive, and she has the patience of a saint.
Oh yeah,
truly.
She needs to get compensated.
Speaking of patience of a saint, I really loved.
Oh my god!
You know, some days at work for Maddie are just kind of like, oh my god, how is this my life? Like this day when she had to coordinate the Great Pumpkin chase down, like from the dispatch headquarters, and just like she was doing it. She was like navigating with the wind and the speed of the wind and like all of the roads, and like, oh my god, it was so funny. And I think at one point,
was so done that entire call.
she was done. At one point, she was typing in, you know, the stuff about the call, and it was like another sighting of the Great Pumpkin, and it's just like the humor in that was so, just everything about it was so good, and like the little pumpkin icon that they had like following down the street that they did. I'm just like, this is peak comedy. This is amazing.
Thanks, Terry.
Thanks, Terry, for programming that in like 2 seconds. You know, like very impressive. It's just one of those ridiculous things, but it's so fun. And poor Maddie for having to deal with that. But at least she has a great story for when she comes home after that shift. Incredible work.
Okay, so Harry, my moment for him for this episode is, you know, I like when he's genuine and not trying to be like a cool teenager.
He is a cool teenager to us, but like,
yeah, and I do like his one-liners, but I really like when he is just, you know, being earnest. So that's why this really hit for me. It's when he's, you know, talking to May, and she's like, you don't need her approval, like, you know, you don't need it to like go be a firefighter. And he's like, but I want it. Like, I want it. Like, I want her to be proud of me. And I think that's such a, I mean, it's such a normal thing for a kid to want, but like that the pressure of wanting Athena Grant to you know, approve what you're doing specifically in his situation is not a small thing to ask. And then, you know, I think she's always proud of her kids, but I think in his perspective, he thinks that he has to do, you know, probably first responder, like saving lives things, you know, because it's what she does and it's what Bobby does, and May has done it too. So I don't know, I just really appreciated that earnest moment with him where we kind of like really see where his headspace is, and it kind of explains why he was willing to like move in his mom, even though they're a little tense right now.
It clues us into his motivation.
Yeah.
For why he's doing what he's doing, which I think is really important.
Yeah.
For us to know as an audience. And it's a really lovely like sentiment too.
Yeah.
My highlight was when he was trying on Bobby's turnouts. And I mean, also the way he like jump scared Athena was hilarious. And it was like, oh no, trauma. But I really liked just like the concept of him trying the turnouts on, because it's almost like, you know, he's already made that decision to apply to the LAFD. And so it was almost like he was trying on that identity for himself. Like, can he visualize himself as a firefighter, you know? And, you know, it doesn't fit him, but he could grow into it, sort of thing. So I really liked that, even though he was like playing it off as like, oh yeah, it's a costume, which did piss us off.
It did.
Because that's insensitive. But I think he was trying to pass it off as like, I'm cool. It's cool. Like, I'm chill.
And and the rewatch with me and Han earlier today, I was like, what are you doing standing in the middle of the fucking like living room in front of the fire pit?
In the fireplace.
Or fireplace.
She's gonna have a stroke. Like, bro.
Like, this was giving. Do you know what this was giving? No? Okay. It was giving a little bit of Christopher seeing Kim.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No, it was gonna like
Oh, no.
terrifying. Anyway. No, it absolutely was giving that.
God.
So like
Oh my
he didn't think it through, and then he got kind of caught in it, and so like he
Yeah.
tried to play it off. But I think the main purpose of that was him trying on the firefighter identity for himself, which I think is really sweet.
My highlight is around the end, pretty much around the end of the episode, when he sees Athena talking to Bobby's turnouts. And, you know, Athena's making a point to say, like, hey, you know, to Bobby's turnouts that, you know, you inspired my kids, and I don't think I can forgive you for that sometimes. But like he comes in and says one of the sweetest things, which I have to say I appreciate. I think I've hyped up Harry even when he was a little kid in like seasons 2 and 3, because he's always been. There are moments when he's like very, you know, he acts like a kid, but then there are moments he's like he shows like little, not bouts of maturity. Well, he
wisdom
shows
beyond his years.
Wisdom beyond his years, yes, that he's like taken from his parents and Bobby. And in this particular case, you know, he's saying that he loves Bobby. He was a good guy. He loves him, but he was a son of a first responder long before he ever met him. And it's not about being like him. It's about being like you.
Oh, isn't that everything you want to hear as a parent?
Yeah. Shit's about to make me cry right now.
This episode made me cry so much, and it continues to make me cry.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's so good.
Like,
just hate crying.
You know, the saying is like imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. I think that's a lot of what's going on with Harry in this case. For in both like Bobby and Athena.
Yeah.
He's honoring all of his parents.
He really is.
He honored Michael in, you know, that thing about, you know, to serve the community, that callback to season 2.
Yeah.
So yeah. God, I love Harry.
Oh, I love Harry so much. They're doing such great things with his character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Buckaroo.
I would love, you know, one time to start out talking about a Buck arc without going, oh boy.
Oh my God.
Just cue Sabrina Carpenter. Like, oh boy. Do.
Yeah. Like literally every time.
I know. It's like we have to take like a deep breath and deep sigh to talk about Buck. Our special
I don't know
guy.
why he's giving me a Looney Tunes character right now. I don't know. Don't ask me why my brain went there.
I mean, he was very animated in this episode. This is like some of the most animated Buck we've seen in a long time.
Well, since Masks.
Pretty much.
Well, there's probably other stuff. I just keep thinking about the screaming.
I know. I mean, first of all, we just have to kudos Oliver Stark for his performance in this episode, because it was so earnestly Buck.
Yeah.
It made us laugh so hard.
Because it made us laugh, and it made me go,
cry.
Yikes. You know, when he got angry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that Buck gets to get proper angry very often. So I do like to see Oliver, you know, the range of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we get it.
That's it. There was a lot of emotional range.
Yeah.
For Buck in this episode in a different way than Eddie had, you know?
Yeah.
But one of my highlights for Buck was, I know it's still him kind of spiraling a little bit, but I really loved the effort that Buck was making to like basically connect with Bobby and to honor Bobby and keep Bobby's like spirit alive through Buck baking and like trying his recipes and trying to make them perfect, because it just like it's like a reminder of home. It's a reminder of Bobby. And even though it was like making him go a little cuckoo bananas, like the idea of it is really sweet. And putting the picture on the shelf in the kitchen, oh, that tore at my heartstrings.
My highlight, it's not even a highlight, it's a moment. It's the Ouija board stuff.
white boy.
Bro.
Non-religious white boy. It's showing.
Yikes.
No,
This
dude.
was the yikes moment.
Keep that shit to yourself.
That was the yikes moment. I mean, okay, I'm giving him grace. I get it. He's grieving. He's having some moments. He's spiraling. I get it. But do not approach the Mexican American with the Ouija board.
No.
The religious from religious background at that too. Like,
Jesus. I do not fuck with that shit. Eddie ain't fucking with that shit.
No.
And then
even we know not to mess with that.
No, we're not fucking with that. And then to be like, I laugh. I have to laugh. It's nothing against him. He just didn't read the room.
no.
But like
He did
like,
read the age range.
He did read. That was my point. He read the age range, but he did not read the room. Like
he was prepared for Eddie to be like, no, Christopher can't do that. And he was like, no, see, it's ages 8 and up. I checked.
Yeah. Ay.
With affection.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love him. I love him.
Yeah. None of us were with you with the Ouija board though, man.
No.
We were not on your side.
That's a fuck around and find out sort of thing if I ever saw it. Like,
yeah.
Pardon my French.
Oh, and then like the fact that yes, Ravi was a good friend for playing along, but he also lied to him
to get him to come over.
Yeah. Oh man.
He deserved that you're an idiot. Because first of all, yes, he deserved it, but it is literally what Bobby would have said to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Ravi knows Bobby too.
Affectionately. Yeah. But just yikes. I hope that thing isn't just chilling in his house.
Dude, for real, please burn it.
Please.
Isn't that worse?
Just throw it. Just get it out of the house. I don't care.
If he puts that thing up in the attic and we get like some sort of Jumanji situation, that is no good.
He's gonna have to move out of that house.
You gotta move the juju. Like, that's the bad juju. Get it out of there. That was actually the most triggering thing to my religious trauma. Entire episode. The use of a Ouija board. Anyway,
you're just like, no.
Yeah,
you know what?
Fuck no.
I will say this. After I guess Chris sees dead people. Maybe it actually would have been fine. I'm just kidding.
Maybe.
Don't.
I mean,
not. When he's older. If he wants to fuck around and find out, sure.
No.
No, not right now.
He's still a baby to me right now.
Yeah.
There is something kind of like connective about that though, a little.
Yeah.
For me, like Buck believing it and like Chris kind of experiencing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I would love for them to have a chat about that at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see that or like see that explored in fan fiction.
My moment for Buck in this episode was when he finally stopped being crazy and spiraling about cookies. I mean, I loved that too, but like I was just like waiting for him to get somewhere with all of this. And I think, we were like, it's either a ring or it's a sobriety chip. I think those were like the options before we went into the episode.
Mm-hmm.
But the sobriety chip was making a lot of sense early in the episode. So when we got there, I was like, it's kind of was. And they made it make so much sense at the end. He went in and he dropped the charges, which like I knew he would do.
Oh, yeah.
But, he found the sobriety chip and then offered to go to a meeting with him. And like, it's just it is so Buck, but it is Buck literally just like channeling Bobby. It's like continuing, I don't want to say the work of Bobby, but just like the spirit of Bobby and like what he was about. Because if Bobby had been in that situation, that's exactly what he would have done.
Mm-hmm.
So it's finding a way to like feel connected to Bobby, which is what he was searching for that entire time. And like cookies made sense because like that was a big thing that they shared was like Bobby taught him how to cook and how to bake and all of that. So he was trying to feel connected to him like through the food, and he was kind of losing it because he couldn't find the snickerdoodle recipe. So like that was, just like the worst thing he could think of, and had to fix that to feel connected. But,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I think for Buck, doing things like kind of in the spirit of Bobby is where that sweet spot is going to be in feeling connected to him.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm so sad no one voted for this, but I think when one of the best buddy segments, like one of the offerings we put was like how everyone from the 118 together combined creates Bobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because they all have different traits and things that like they do just being themselves. And if you combine all of those things together, it's like, you know, it's Bobby's. So Bobby's spirit is still there in so many ways, you know, because his memory lives on in all of them, but like who they are as people and the parts of them that he shaped is there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I really like thinking about that, like at the beginning of the season and then this happening. I was like, this is exactly it for Buck.
Mm-hmm.
And it made a lot of sense. I don't know if we'll ever see this guy again. I feel like we maybe could for like a follow-up to see that he's still like helping him in some way or just like befriending him. It seems like the guy needs a friend.
Yeah. I have been writing on this idea for a while now, because Buck mentoring Harry is one way that he is honoring Bobby. Now this where he decides to reach out to Dwayne and bring him to an AA meeting. It's definitely honoring Bobby's memory. It's interesting that we had like three different types of symbolism for Bobby, one being the AA chip and the picture frame. I think for Buck, Athena had the turnouts and Eddie had the Bible, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cookies.
And the cookies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's lots of like, I guess, little pieces and little like items. I think what I'm trying to say is that I was right.
Yeah.
I said that for this particular episode that I wanted hauntings through objects.
Yeah. You did say that.
You got it. You manifested.
Was that in the preview, I think? The season 9 preview? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Because I was writing fanfic in my head for Buck and Eddie, but I was like, they're being haunted by items. I guess I think it was Eddie and the Shannon of it all, but what I really wanted was Bobby stuff. And then for Buck, it was Bobby. And yeah, I was writing fanfic, but like, I got the main idea. I got the main thing. I'm proud of myself.
You should be. You really hit the nail on the head there. And I think it's just like Buck's way of paying it forward in a way that Bobby would have absolutely done. But also just another, like we're seeing it really kind of like breadcrumbed throughout these first 5 episodes. Like Buck's sturdiness and steadiness. He is the rock right now. And he's even being that for this stranger. And I'm really excited to see how far they take that, like where they take that in this season. Because it's a facet of Buck that we haven't really explored before.
Let's go.
All right. The man of the hour. Eddie. So I don't think we could have picked one. I don't think we did, or maybe I'm the one who just picked multiple. Han picked multiple, but we have a lot of highlights for Eddie.
It was the whole episode.
It was the whole episode. Just this whole episode right here.
Highlight.
Okay, but real talk though. One of my highlights is the deconstruction and reconstruction of his religious trauma. So having him, there's a lot to say, and I really don't want to get into it here either. But just the fact that he was trying to find like a different relationship with his religion was, I think, very important to see because because of the way he's explained it throughout the episode about how like he never wanted to go, he was rebelling, he was doing all these like different things like that would tell me that he was just like not in it. He didn't want to be in it and he hated it. And you know, with my own trauma, but like I can relate, and I think it's important that he reconstructs it in a way where not like to find like some kind of comfort, but in in better ways. That isn't like the preachy, the very preachy, rigidness that Catholicism can be, you know, if that makes sense.
Like something that works for him.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like religion, especially for Eddie, like I feel like it needs to be something that he's comfortable with and he can find that comfort. At the end of the day, it's probably still looking for it maybe in the wrong places, and he's kind of make it his own.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense.
The other highlight that I have was the demon possession call. That
was wild.
That shit was wild. There's lots to unpack there. We're gonna unpack it in another great section that segment that we have. But I will
probably do like a whole mini-sode on that call.
Dude,
maybe we should actually.
That shit was crazy. But like, I have to say, the sass, the anger that came out of there, a little bit of he was annoyed. Yeah. Overall,
valid.
He took that personally.
You know,
he really
did. Threatened to stab a patient, and I was like, do it.
Yeah. And he was the most respectful he could have been about it. It's just, he was just like, please shut up.
And listen, he's got a silver star. I mean,
it's not illegal.
It's not illegal because he's got the silver star. He's doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
He has never committed a single wrong in his life.
Nope. Never, ever.
Never, ever.
Even before he got the silver star.
Yep.
No, it's retroactively.
It's a life pardon.
Out here driving without a license. Man, that lore drop.
Oh my God. I have so many thoughts about that.
They really brought back that season 5 lore drop and added more context too. Because like, yeah, you can just ask. He just really that man really wanted to drive as a teenager, you know, because he was trying to get his his mom to the hospital.
Like 10 years old.
Yeah.
And now he's passenger princess.
He wants to drive.
I'm sure he hates driving after being an Uber driver.
I think he was having fun. Me personally. Listen, did you not see him swerve and acting like he's in fucking Fast and Furious?
Yeah, no, I know. So when they were like, he failed his driver's test twice, I was like, I'm sure.
That's why.
Anyway, my last thing is this very wholesome scene between him and Abuela, which is, you know, that he would go to church with her because she's his Abuela and he loves her so much. Well, also wearing that fit.
Take me to church.
No, for real. I'm going to leave it at that. I can't.
I can be converted.
Again, wardrobe department. Snaps for you. Thank you. I guess also keeping in the vein of the kind of lighthearted moments of this episode. I loved when Eddie was playing along with the guy who thought he was dead. What was it? Cotard's syndrome?
Yes.
And he just like, you know, had a little light bulb moment and is like, oh, I know how to get this guy to like cooperate. And, you know, we're going to work with him instead of work against him. So he pulled out his like inner community theater nerd
and his hot shots knowledge
and his hot shots experience as nurse number 2. He's got a resume, guys. Okay, he's working on that.
Barbie, he's on IMDb. He has a speaking line.
He does. He had to get paid for that too. So he's really, you know, channeling that kind of energy and just like it was so wholesome and so great, and everything about that whole scene, getting everyone else to play along too. You know, when he turns back around to Hen and Chimney and like wink, you know, and
yeah,
God bless her, Hen is just like, oh, okay, like, and Chimney, you know,
quit your day job, Hen.
No, she's just.
This is why she wasn't. This is why she wasn't in Hot Shot. She was like,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
These fools can do it, but not me.
If Hen were to act in anything, she would go full method, right?
She'll try her damn hardest.
It has to be real.
Because this was
so great. How Eddie was like, "Oh no, hold on, I can't find a pulse. He's dead. I think we're losing him." And,
Lucille
just like,
Ball wink. Like,
yeah. It was very
Hot.
kind of vaudevillian almost.
Mhm.
Very just like over the top, but in like the best way possible. And everything about that was great.
So endearing. I know he aced his theater class. He aced his English class. Oh, Yorick with the trials and tribulations of Evan Buckley.
He went full theater kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why it resonates.
So one of my two moments, I think, was summarized well in a tweet that I read, which I will use that as a jumping point. Jess on Twitter, upon a starry sky, said, God, just thinking about how Eddie is handling grief in a healthy way for the first time in the entire series. No pushing it down to be strong for Chris. No fight clubs. No looking for replacements or chasing doppelgangers. Eddie, who is finally being allowed to heal. And I read that and like burst into tears.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like so poignant.
Yeah, it is, because like he has been through so much, and like we've seen some really great arcs and stories for him on this show, but what we haven't really seen is a lot of healing, emotionally. I think for me, one of the reasons that this entire arc is so moving is because it is the first time we really see him able to heal. Like, we've seen him take baby steps. We've seen him find ways to like kind of cope and get by, but we've never really seen him find peace in any of the shit he's been through. You know what I mean? So I feel like just being able to find like a healthy way to grieve for the first time was just, the moment or moments, because it's kind of what he's doing this entire episode. But I think it's just such a good story to like show for his character and his background, to show him trying to find connection with Bobby through Catholicism. He gave him that, the book of prayers. He comes from it and he's thinking, how can I, move forward? How can I connect to Bobby? And like, he doesn't even know if he's going to mass for Bobby or himself. And, it's like he's searching for something. He doesn't find it in the church. He ends up finding it like through what his Abuela says.
Yeah.
And like, finding the things about religion that he doesn't like. So it's like he's kind of finding this sweet spot of like what kind of piecemealing things, from different aspects of, religion and culture, and finding what works for him. And I think it's more like spirituality and like the connection to like the people that you love, and like believing that they're still a part of you even when they're not there anymore. And, I think that is what's able to like have him find that peace and actually that part of him that's never been able to grieve properly.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, it was like cathartic for me as someone who's not great at grieving to like see him find something that like, has him smiling in the face of, another giant loss on the pile of loss. It was just huge for me. And we'll get more into this in different ways, the rest of the episode. But, I think that this tweet really distilled it down into like the like gut punch or like thesis statement of why it's so moving.
Yeah. And it's kind of like to what you were saying about him taking things from culture and religion and kind of molding it into something that works for him. Like taking the things that resonate and just keeping those is kind of like him reforming his identity in that way.
Yeah.
Which I think we'll discuss in a little more depth later. But just like
that's a huge thing.
Yeah, just the fact that they're touching on that in such like a profound way is really, really cool to see like happen right in front of our eyes. Kind of.
Yeah.
My
other moment for him in this episode is when Abuela and Peppa confront him. Like they found a stash of porn, but it's a prayer book and prayer beads.
So funny. They look so like
I know.
Guilty.
It was like a gotcha moment. And he's like, why are you going through my stuff? Like, I'll get into this later. But it's, that happens and they're talking to him and he's like, it's only been to a couple messes. Like, it's not a big deal. I don't want to talk about it. And they're like, have you told Christopher? And he's like, no, like, I don't want to make a big deal out of it. And like, I hated being forced to go, as a kid. I hated it. And I don't like want to make him do that. Like one day when he's older, he can decide if he wants to go. He's not going to make him. And that also healed some part of my like inner religiously traumatized child. Because I was like, oh my God, correct parenting.
Yeah.
And that's another cycle he's breaking. It's just so good.
It's so good. Yeah.
He's such a good dad. We already knew this about him, but I just think that was such a like shout out to all my like fellow religiously traumatized people who were like, wow, wish that could have been my parents.
I know.
You're a lucky kid, Chris. Like that's the correct stance to take, I think.
What a great thing another great thing for them to portray on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there should be more of that.
And you can see like Abuela reacts to it, like her eyebrows raise when he's like, I hated being forced to go. They don't argue with him. Like they don't push him to try and like make Christopher go. They aren't even pushing him to go. It's just like that he's already doing it his own volition and they want to talk to him about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was beautiful too, because it's like, you have these multiple generations like talking about, but like not being pushy about it.
Yeah.
I think that also really helps to inform and infer that pressure was being put on him by his parents specifically, and just helps to illustrate something that we've already known, which is Abuela and Peppa really value like lifting Eddie up. They're the ones that are Eddie's support system, like the actual support system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that continuation of that like consistency, right?
Yeah.
One of my other highlight moments was basically Eddie changing the prophecy of and starting to like break his curse of always not being there. So I think he kind of started working on changing that prophecy because he had those last moments with Abuela when they were coming back from church and they had that really lovely, beautiful talk about
what is love if not God's presence.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So it was like that the tide is kind of shifting a little bit for him in that way. Like we can already see it in the way that he's dealing with it. And there was a quote from Ryan Guzman in an article by Sophia Soto in Yardbarker, which is an amazing interview just in and of itself. And I'm also there's a longer part of the quote that I think I'm going to bring up in the Best Buddies section, but I did want to mention this. So Ryan Guzman was talking about Eddie's struggle with loss and grief, specifically talking about Bobby, because this article came out before the season started. But he said, talking about how Bobby's death affects Eddie, it was, I think how he continues after his passing is now doing something without feeling like he's going backwards, but doing something as if he's learned what he needs to learn from Cap and imparting that as much as he possibly can in his honor. So not diving so much into a depressive state, we've seen that. We've seen his grief tear at Eddie's fabric, but I don't think that would suit Bobby. Bobby was such a person of hope that his passing actually allows Eddie to grow and allows Eddie to really fall into who he's meant to become, which is another very big, important piece of this family dynamic in the 118. So in the way he's changing that prophecy is by taking a lot of these lessons that Bobby has imparted onto him and utilizing that grief to help him with this grief for Abuela. So that's why I wanted to like bring in that quote, because it is how Eddie is kind of like shifting gears or shifting the way that he faces these kind of like weighty moments.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. Well, speaking of Ryan, just shout out to this episode that like frames his insane fucking range.
Yeah.
Incredible work.
It's like the best we've ever seen of him. And it's crazy because he was like all over the map So
in a good way.
in the best way.
There were so many different emotions and things happening, and like it was just all, I'm just locked in for all of it, whether I'm crying along or hysterically laughing. Like it's just so, I mean, like speed run for us because we've only been watching the show for over a year and a half now, but like seeing like the growth and like the micro expressions and stuff like that is like so impressive, and it's been good for so good for a while now. But this episode, I was just like,
Ryan acted his ass off.
He did,
especially because Ryan was really carrying this episode on his back.
It was
like, yeah, they threw everything at him to do.
Did you say it's a lot of responsibility?
I would in fact say that, yes. So they gave him so much to work with, so much to chew on as an actor. Yeah. I can only imagine like how fun and how great this experience filming this episode would have been, because they get the really serious stuff with the emotional weight of losing Abuela. They get, Eddie's anger and ire at
demon possession call
her parents for that. And then you also get the silly, goofy aspects of Eddie, which we love to see highlighted because his comedic timing is so, like, Ryan's comedic timing is so good. It just really encompassed like everything you could want to see from a character, but also done impeccably well. Bravo.
Yeah.
Buddy System Emmys of the
week. Kind of to wrap up this section is a thing that I wrote and then had no idea where to put. So anyway, here's this. So there's a transition from the scene where May and Harry are talking, and she says, "You don't need her permission, Harry." And he says, "But I want it. I want her to support what I'm doing. I want her to be proud of me." And then it cuts directly to the scene at Eddie's house where, he gets confronted with the religion thing, and that whole storyline for the episode starts. So Eddie has been hiding going to church from his tea and Abuela, who are both practicing Catholics. And it comes off like an inverse of a kid sneaking around, like going against the church, not wanting to get caught. Or like I said earlier, like, like he hid some dirty magazines or something, you know what I mean? Like, but it's like what they found was the prayer book and the rosary. Like, so he's almost ashamed that he's never felt that thing, like the God's presence or whatever you're supposed to feel. So he hid going to church, thinking if his Abuela found out, she would be disappointed or not supportive in the journey he's on. He's trying so hard to find like love and connection, but it was like he was kind of ashamed that he wasn't finding it. And so he didn't want to say anything because he didn't want to disappoint her, and like, not that I think that he really thought she wouldn't be supportive, but it's just like the trauma, I think, from how he experienced religion growing up through his parents.
Yeah.
But when he stops hiding and opens up to her about this, she responds beautifully and supportively. No one is prouder of Eddie than his Abuela. Like literally no one. She's the most proud of him ever. So the conversation is, Abuela says, "Prayers cannot be choosers. Not my line. It's Father Bolsonaro." And Eddie says, "A funny priest. I don't remember those growing up. Maybe I wouldn't have hated Mass so much." And she goes, "Well, you needed something to rebel against." And he says, "It wasn't about rebellion, It never felt that thing, God's presence or whatever you're supposed to feel." And like, it's such a vulnerable thing for him to say, because I think that was like the shame of like trying to go back and do this, is that like he's doing it to try and find that connection. He doesn't feel it. She goes, "And now you're back." And he's like, whoa, I wouldn't say back. Like, say I'm testing the waters, taking the temp, because he doesn't want to be like held to this standard that he doesn't feel like he can meet, because he doesn't feel connected to it.
Yeah.
And he spent his whole life doing that.
Yeah. She's like, "Coming to Mass on a Wednesday." And he's like, "Only for you, because you're my Abuela and I love you." She says, "But what is love if not a sign of God's presence?" And he's like, So when I was looking for him in church," and she puts her hand over his heart and says, "Mi niño, You were looking in the wrong place. So I wrote, this wasn't about Eddie finding his religion again or becoming more repressed by rediscovering his Catholicism. This was about him exploring this part of himself as an adult and letting go of the guilt and shame he carried surrounding the religion.
Yeah.
It's a story of opening himself up, the opposite of repression.
Mhm.
We've never seen an Eddie this free and in the face of yet another loss. I think that is one of the most powerful parts of this story. This is the first Eddie storyline we've ever had where we get to see him feel his feelings in peace and heal. This, to me, is the direct predecessor, spiritually, to his storyline in Confessions.
Yeah.
The road to joy is not a straight LOL line, but he's on the path, and this is the biggest step we've seen him take to do something for himself. Because this isn't about being a good father. This isn't about being a firefighter. This isn't about being a son or a grandson. It's not about any of these other things that have always been his identity because he doesn't have his own identity. This is the first thing we've ever seen him really, truly do for himself. That isn't a silly little dance or eating a sweet treat. Like, this is a big, huge step for him to take.
Mhm.
Eddie is coming into himself and learning to let go of his shame, guilt, and self-hatred. As an Eddie lover, I couldn't ask for anything more in an Eddie-centric story, but we did get so much more. And we got massive amounts of queer coding that are following beats that were laid down in seasons 7 and 8. We're getting there. Trust the journey, sit back, and enjoy the story. This proved to me beyond a shadow of a doubt where they intend to head with this character and that they will do it well. That's it.
Amen.
I was gonna be like, well said, but yeah.
Yeah.
No, like everything that you just put out there is so important to Eddie's story going forward because, first of all, it was more about Eddie, like this whole storyline for him was more about him finding connection to things that bring him joy, and that maybe taking a little bit from religion, a little bit of culture, and like making something purely his own.
Mm-hmm.
So like he's not going back to the church
No.
per se. He's incorporating bits and pieces in this new sense of identity that he's formulating and he's building and molding because he wants to.
He's finding this is him finding his spiritual identity, not his religious identity, his spiritual identity. And it is literally him experimenting.
Mhm.
It's literally him experimenting. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's him being like, well, will this work? Like, what parts of this do I like? He's making, a spiritual concoction.
He's making potions.
He's making potions.
It's like a spiritual Goldilocks experiment, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
a little bit of this. No, this is too warm. No, this is
But it's
too
all
cool.
about
This
him.
is
It's
just
not
right.
to please anyone else. It's
Yeah.
not so that he can be a good Catholic boy or so that he can get the approval of someone or so that he can do something that's expected of him or because he thinks it's what Bobby would want him to do. It's literally all about him.
As it should be.
As it should be.
Yeah.
And that's why it works.
Yep. Yeah, I love seeing that he's able to take all of these different little pieces of his upbringing and
Mm-hmm.
trying to find what works for him, right?
Yeah.
Because not everything, like you said, it's experimenting and he's trying to it's just I don't know. It's just like I have a lot of feelings. I have a lot of feelings and sometimes it's like really hard to talk about because like sometimes I don't really have the words for it because of how it hits close to home because
Mm-hmm.
like I said earlier, I was also raised like Catholic in a Latina household and I have my own guilt and I have my own like having to be forced to go to church and then if you don't go you're a bad person or you're going to hell or you're like everything is just weaponized against you. And then there's like other aspects to it that I think I talked to these two about where it's like it at least the mass the churches that I went to felt very like socialite, like kind of like cliquey, and I didn't like any of that stuff. It just felt like, oh, I can't believe I'm saying this. Like I have to perform.
Wow. Where have we heard that?
Full circle moment. So no, it's not him going back to religion. No, but it is him turning something that was used to, I don't want to say weaponized against them, but like, or anything like that, but like it could be inferred, but like it's turning it into something, I guess, kind of in a way productive, and finding like peace and connection with a little bit of the religion stuff, and definitely like his culture, because like kind of like how he closes out his monologue about like you realize you're not alone. And I think that's what Eddie's been striving for. He's been looking for some kind of connection. Yes, we're going to talk about this actually in our best buddy section, so if you're not in that tier, you better subscribe. But but
on
Patreon. But like, yeah, like the character of Eddie's been kind of just like wandering and alone, and dealing with all of these emotions internally and not able to express them. And I think finally this is the episode where he has been able to like open himself up and accept the comfort, or give comfort back, that he hasn't been able to throughout all of the losses that he's had. Yeah. I don't even know. Like, I feel like I just went all over the place. But like, listen, this episode really, 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 really touched something in me. But
that's how you know it's good art.
It's just really good. It's really good.
Yeah. And I think just to maybe summarize this a little bit is, again, this is why we incorporated some of our other buddies' perspectives on how this episode dealt with the cultural and some of the religious aspects. We can only kind of speak for how this works narratively, and the way what they're setting in place narratively for Eddie, for his story, is so, it's just big. It's very conceptual. It's very nuanced. And the way that they're handling that, like setting these like building blocks and these
stepping stones,
or like cobblestones for the stepping stones for what we think is maybe a particular path for Eddie going forward, even if it's just like him finding his identity and self-actualization in that way, which can lead to some other stuff, but generally like the self-actualization is so, it just handled with care in that way. Again, narratively speaking.
Yeah.
And I think that's why this is so poignant for us as well, or one of the reasons why it's so poignant for us in the way that the story of this episode was told.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of Eddie and Buck and grief, like we've been doing for past umpteen minutes, I'm undisclosed amount of time. We're going to talk about that more in our Best Buddy mini segment. So shout out to our Best Buddies on Patreon.
Thank you so much, Aaron, Alexandria, Amy, Freya 2004, Jules, Quincy, Shayla, Tristy, Vera, and Zachary.
Yeah. So we're about to start a mini segment that they voted for, how Buck and Eddie process grief differently.
And it's exclusive to the Best Buddies tier on Patreon.
So if you'd like to vote on and hear special mini segments in each episode,
and get a personalized shout out like we just did here, subscribe to our Patreon and be our best buddy. If you're listening to our podcast, it means, like us, you also love a good procedural TV show that features incredibly interesting and brave first responders, especially firefighters.
That's why we want to tell you about a podcast you should check out.
It's called the One Chicago Podcast, and it's the official exclusive behind-the-scenes look at some of the most iconic TV series on right now: Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, and Chicago Med. From USG Audio and Wolf Entertainment themselves, the people behind Law & Order.
Each episode joins host and former Chicago cop turned Chicago PD producer, Brian Lucci, as he's joined by the actors, producers, and writers behind the epic One Chicago universe, including
a chat with actor David Eigenberg. You might also know him as Steve Brady from Sex and the City. He shares his fascinating and unexpected path to playing Christopher Herman on Chicago Fire.
Stop, drop, and roll your way over to the One Chicago Podcast by searching for One Chicago Podcast in your favorite podcast app. That's One Chicago Podcast. Anyway, new favorite segment just dropped. Queer Eddiemaxxing.
Hey.
There was so much it needed its own section. And even with that, I think we're still kind of only going to be touching on things. Maybe we'll do a special at some point.
Yeah.
Or include it in one of the Queer Eddie specials we have planned.
There's so much here.
There's so much. And like, we're literally doing this Friday, like the day after the episode aired. So, we're doing our best, fam. But yeah, to start us off, that exorcism call.
Insanity right there. That was crazy.
Oh my God.
That was a lot. Like, when we knew there was going to be an exorcism, I was thinking Catholic because, like, it's an Eddie-sode and he is Catholic. And I was like, oh, like, it might actually just be comedy. But they were like, no, this is actually a horror movie and your specific trauma because this is evangelicals bullshit, like, to me. But yeah, so the illusions they were making about this girl was high-key giving conversion therapy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was a lot. Like, I really was expecting at any moment for them to, like, just come out and say that, like, the thing that she did was a woman or something. You know what I mean? Because it was a lot. But
it was like this close.
Yeah.
It was close.
To like saying that without saying that, you know?
Yeah. So at the end of the call, when they're out, like, getting her into the ambulance, they're like, we want to ride with her. And Hen's like, you can visit her. And Eddie's like, if she wants to see you. They're like, oh, we know what's best for her daughter. And he's like, she said she was sick and you said it was the devil. And he's like vehement.
Yeah.
For, like, good reason. But it's paralleling 804.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With, again, another queer-coded character whose parent he confronts. Because in 804, he goes to the cheerleader's absentee father and says, you think being a cheerleader makes your son weak? Because he's not talking to his son because his son is a cheerleader. And that makes his father weak.
Yeah.
Honestly. But it's just this pattern of Eddie confronting the parents of queer-coded patients on calls with abusive or absent parents. Like, we're picking that thread back up. And I love it. But, like, my God, there's a lot to unpack and we don't have time for it right now.
Yeah. And always, I think anytime Eddie gets angry at a patient's parents is always going to remind us of his own parents. So it's really interesting now that we have at least two instances where there is some very heavy queer coding in relating to the parents not accepting their child for who they are.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we just know, like, queer coding aside, we know that Helena and Ramon don't believe in Eddie and they always thought, like, he was gonna drag Christopher down with him. So, like, they just, like, generally do not support him. Right? So, which is queer coded in and of itself.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it all ties back to that. Some more queer coding in the way that the parents of Abigail. No, it was the brother Isaac.
He was the one doing the exorcism, right?
Yes. So it was Chimney that confronted brother Isaac and was like, why this girl? Why did you think she had the devil in her? And brother Isaac said, well, she was a good girl. And those are the easiest to lead astray. So just like the concept of, you know, if you're like a God-fearing person and you like stay the path but also they're like the weakest at the same time and the easiest to like bring over to the side of evil and everything like that. So I think we're going to bring this up again later, but like this concept of walking the straight and narrow, especially when you feel like you have to, and maybe because you're like overcorrecting, I think is kind of tied to Eddie in that way. And also stuff about rebellion and Eddie rebelling against things.
It's also just thinking for yourself.
Yeah. I think a follow-up quote to what brother Isaac was saying was, she wanted to leave our way of life. And actually, as he's saying that, it cuts to Eddie. So like,
it does.
That already tells me everything I need to know about like, you know, Eddie not conforming to some of those or rebelling against wanting to participate in going to church. Like he hated it, and maybe like some other things. I mean, it could equate to so many things about Eddie, like going, like trying to get away from his family, especially like during Eddie Begins, when we get to see that. Like the way I think the Diazes see it is like, oh, he turned his back on his family, and that's already bad in their eyes. But you know, we all know for Eddie, that's probably the best thing that he could have done. Take Christopher and go
and leave.
Yeah. And then also like and in the theme for like the religious stuff, like just not like, first of all, hating it. Second of all, like not wanting Christopher to be, you know, subjected to that. And he wants to give him the choice. And then like the whole thing about like with this girl, Abigail, about like she's just being subjected to, like she was, because he says it in his outburst to Buck, or, you know, after the Ouija board thing, where he's like, you know, Abigail did everything that she was supposed to do. And like, it was just not enough because she still suffered. And that's basically the crux of Eddie, right?
Yeah.
He was always the person, the guy who was the one who's trying to do everything right, and he still suffers.
And to that point, I think to bring it back to the like the good person, easiest to lead astray. Like I remembered why one of the ways I wanted to tie that back to Eddie was because in that conversation with Eddie and Christopher and Abuela and Peppa, and Peppa and Abuela are telling Christopher about, you know, Eddie was driving without a license, doing something illegal, like being bad and like that act of rebellion. And then Peppa's like, yeah, our golden boy did this, you know, like was doing this illegal thing. And it's that duality that is, she was a good girl, easy to lead astray.
Yeah.
And that duality is really encompassed in Eddie as well. Like he's done some of these illegal things, but he's still the golden boy with the silver star. So it's like how you can occupy both and not be wrong for that, you know?
I think it's always about, at the end of the day, and I think this goes hand in hand with like the queer coding of it all, and like maybe the Catholicism, or you know, there are gay Catholics out there, right? At the end of the day, I think it's intent. Like, what is your intention that really drives whether you're a good person or a bad person? I would have to say, because you're not a bad person if you love someone from the same sex. It doesn't make you a bad person.
No.
So I know like the stuff about Eddie right now, like the stuff that we're talking about is like not on that level yet, but it's like he's not.
I'm gonna touch on it though, because they're drawing imagery to this, and it's like, how can I not?
Yeah.
Okay.
How can I not pontificate on how? That's my next point.
Okay.
I don't want to get deep into this because we're going to get deep into it in other sections, obviously. But he says, I'm trying to keep an open mind, leave room for the unknown. That's self-fucking-explanatory.
Yeah.
And then later, you know, when he rejects the Ouija board, Buck's like, what happened to leaving a little room for the unknown? He goes, Abigail happened. She put her faith in everything she was supposed to. And what did she get? Tetanus, lockjaw, maybe 30 years of therapy. It's not supernatural. It's just ordinary and ugly. I'm sorry, Buck, but God wasn't in that room and Bobby isn't in your house. It's not about Bobby and it's not about Buck at all. It's all like the projection feels heavier than what we know.
Yeah.
Like the story that we know of what he's going through right now with his grief and what we know of his relationship with religion, which just was that he didn't want to go and that he stopped going like when he was early teenage years. The projection that he has in this outburst is so coming from someone who is traumatized, like religiously traumatized.
Yeah.
He sees himself in Abigail.
Yeah.
And that should tell you everything that you need to know.
So I put a little like pontificating here, and I was like, perhaps a deeper scar of going to his parents or pastor with something gay. And it didn't even have to be gay feelings, just something that would have been perceived as gay. And then was told that it was the devil or it was evil. And he's been walking around with the weight of that, but like just suppressed like all these years. Like I've said this several times that I feel like the way that he's coded and written, like that feels like something that could happen to him. And like as someone who's like a late in life, like real like queer awakening person who was religiously traumatized as a young person, like it's maybe slightly projection, but like it's also just like seeing pieces of myself in him.
Yeah.
So
again, then that tells you everything you need to know.
Right. And I saw this stuff before this episode, but then they put this episode in front of me and had him say this. And I was like,
here's a mirror.
and I'm not supposed to assume that there's more happening underneath there.
Yeah. There's a lot. Like I think it's fair that I think that we are projecting because they put that line. They put this in front of us, and and it just and if it resonates, it's resonating, and clearly it's been resonating with a lot of people because like a lot of people are talking about it in very nuanced ways. I mean, some people are not. I mean, there's obviously going to be some people who are not taking it the way it needs to be taken, but
par for the course,
which is par for the course in this fandom. But like it's fair to project. I've also projected onto Eddie, but like this was crazy to me. This was a lot. I was like, wow. And I guess to that point, there was a moment in when he's prepping the needle, or well, I don't think it was during prepping the needle, but it was during the call when they were trying to work on Abigail. That I think the father said something about like keeping her close, and Eddie's response is like clearly like, you know, already he's done with this.
Yeah, after she committed the sin of going to
Costa Rica. That
I think it was like a pre-college.
It was like a pre-college
thing.
Yeah.
And she told them,
she said it was a missionary trip. So like,
which again goes back into that like rebellion where she was doing something that she wasn't supposed to be doing.
But yeah,
and
sorry.
then
So
this.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So like so like it ties into like I think how Eddie has grown up with Helena and Ramon, and how like they've always tried to kind of control him, right? I don't think try to control him, and then you know, damn, that Texas arc is coming back. You know, like listen, because you know some of the stuff that we learned during the Texas arc is like Christopher is unhappy. He's being he's being forced to go play chess. I know, like these are kind of like. These are metaphors, I think, for this particular.
They are
this kind of topic, and Eddie is seeing what Helena and Ramon were doing to Christopher and how miserable he was, and how he's tied it back into like how they treated him with the competitive ballroom dancings, and how he did enjoy it, but like then he ended up hating it. Like it's like the Diaz's just like sucked enjoyment out of everything, and
the joy out of everything.
Yeah, the joy out of everything. So no wonder he was trying to rebel. I mean, you also kind of hear about like kids who were raised in Catholicism also finding ways to rebel against it. You hear about that kind of stuff because like it's
the tight leash and wanting to act against it because that's where you find the freedom.
Yep.
And the tighter the leash or the ropes or the chains in this case, the more they're going to go the opposite way, you know, to try to find the freedom that they were denied.
Yeah. And I think that was my point. I think I'm done.
Sorry.
No. Keep going.
No, that's such a
No,
great
that was
point,
it.
though. Then we have Eddie saying, I've never felt that thing, God's presence or whatever you're supposed to feel. And
Oh
I've
my
already
God.
talked about this several times, but
This
listen,
line.
there's so many layers to this line, but like what I got from it, again, I'm going to project. I have never felt more connected to Eddie. I've never projected so much onto Eddie than in this episode. But as someone who at a very young age knew, like, they didn't know like what being attracted to girls was called, but like knew that that was a thing that I felt, and had to sit in a service being told that I was going to go to hell. And then, you know, I just like suppressed the fuck out of that because I was like, I don't want to go to hell. I don't want to be wrong. I've always wondered like if that really affected why I could never connect to spirituality. Like I know people who have worked through like the trauma of it and still connect to like the spirituality of the religion and just reject the actual like religious,
like the institutions.
Yes. And I just was never able. I tried so hard and I was just never able to connect to it. And I really think that's one of the reasons, is because I always felt wrong because I had this core memory of being told I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could never let go of that enough to be able to like feel any kind of connection to something bigger than myself.
They ruined it for you before you even got a chance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that. I felt the same way in a way. I mean, not the same experience, but like, I mean, just not feeling I feel like sometimes like I just never felt like what I was supposed to feel like that everyone else feels. Wow, that was a lot of feelings. But like, yeah, no, I don't know. It's a lot when you feel, and when you also feel like, I guess, guilty in a way.
Yeah.
Because you're not, it's like you're not grasping at the point of it all, you know, and it.
No, there's something wrong with you that you can't feel it.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like this is one of the most queer coded lines that you could ever have in anything, just like point blank, because it is alluding to these ideas of societal expectations or cultural expectations, and you feeling wrong because you don't feel what you think you're supposed to feel. And also like how that is so difficult to parse through, because how can you figure out that you don't feel something when you can't figure out what other people are feeling? It's the, how do you realize you feel the absence of something? That takes a lot of like upper like brain power. I think we can also maybe relate that to asexuality or being on the asexual spectrum.
Yeah. Never felt that thing.
Especially with Eddie being like but I think we all like to think there's a lot of potential for him being demisexual. So it's like, how do you realize that you don't feel a thing that everybody else feels, because that's your experience?
Yeah.
Like you have to then think of so many other different things to figure out, oh, I actually don't feel that thing. How do you do that? Like, so I think realizing like that Eddie doesn't feel that presence.
It's the same thing where it's like you're being told something from childhood that you're supposed to feel, and you've never felt it the right way. Yeah. So there must be something wrong with you.
But how do you know if it's the wrong way if that's the only thing that you felt? Again, it's that like absence, or only like, you know, your experience. So connected to that piece of dialogue where Eddie is like, you know, I didn't feel God's presence or whatever you're supposed to feel. And then Abuela says like, you know, well, she equates love to God's presence, which is just like a really lovely sentiment in and of itself.
He starts the line and she's like, what is love if not? She says, what is love if not a sign of God's presence. And he's like thinking, he's like, so when I was looking for him in church, she finishes his thought. He was starting to think it. She says, mi niño, you were looking in the wrong place. And that's the hand on the heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's still equating love as being the highest power and something to believe in, right? So if we just distill that point, and he was looking for love in all the wrong places, gestures to his dating history.
Yeah. Well, to the wrong places for the wrong reasons. So yeah, it really is self-explanatory. It's just like,
yes, the wrong places are women and people that he doesn't have an intense emotional connection with already.
That's a way to bring it back to my other point. Yeah.
We have more Wizard of Oz references. Hello, 804.
Yes.
No Place Like Home. We missed you.
There's no place like home.
We continue this thread of having the scarecrow imagery surrounding Eddie's storylines. So interesting. So I really want to dig into this more at another time, but just to kind of like give an overview, we know Friend of Dorothy. One of the reasons it's called that is because all of Dorothy's friends are gay. So Scarecrow didn't man the line. They're all queer-coded as fuck. They're all camp, like over-the-top camp performances like vaudeville. And it was made in this era in the 1930s where that kind of stuff was honed to reach and appeal to queer people under the Hays Code, where like you couldn't have an outwardly gay character or other.
You couldn't say gay, essentially.
Yes.
An old-timey movie.
But yeah, there's a lot of queer coding in the movie. There's a lot of queer coding in the books. In the movie, the Scarecrow says, of course, some people go both ways when he's talking about which road to take when the Yellow Brick Road forks. And then in one of the Oz books, Tin Man says, I have my companion, the Scarecrow. What need have I of a wife?
Wait, are you for real?
Wow.
Yes.
Sorry, you broke me for a second because I was like...
Yeah, no, that's why I was like, I need to research this more.
Actually, we need to do a Wizard of Oz 911 special.
Probably.
Because, like, Buck would be the Tin Man because he has the biggest heart.
Anyway, I just love that this is one of the many things that they're picking up that they started doing
in season 8.
Setting up in season 8. So it's just, to me... It's just them being like, we didn't forget about it, sweetie. Like, don't worry. These things are still here.
I felt like that was for us personally because like last season we were all like, there's more Wizard of Oz stuff. Look at that. Look at that. And then it was like the whole episode was called No Place Like Home. And we were like,
we love that episode. But yeah. And also like, I guess I didn't say like what the imagery was in season 8. It's the call with the kid, with the cheerleader. Because his body like twists in a way that you only really see with Scarecrow.
It's with the Scarecrow. It's like the cheerleader kid. His body was made out of straw because it just kind of like
just went whoops. Yeah, and then they just twisted it back. He's fine. Because he's constantly flopping around in the Wizard of Oz, and they like pick him up and they like put his shit back together. They stuff hay back in him.
Yeah,
he's fine. Anyway, this concludes my very short overview of the Wizard of Oz references. I'm just glad they're back.
Yay!
All right, so there was a lot of closet imagery and metaphors in this episode as well, which I don't feel like I need to explain why the closet, just inherently. But I will point out what these like imagery and metaphors were in this episode. So at the very beginning, we have Athena may have stashed a few things in the closet. So it was this kind of like, it ended up being this slightly like looming thing where she put like the Bobby box in to kind of like put it away, but you can still access it and open the closet and he can still like, it can still live there. Right. So just like keeping things in the closet, taking them out every so often. Abigail, the room that she was kept in the church thing, to me, it kind of looked like, because Buck had to go through a room into this smaller room. So it kind of felt like a washroom / closet space. So literally, and we just spent so much time talking about how that demon possession and that girl Abigail was so queer coded. So to keep her sequestered in this like teeny tiny little like cupboard area says a lot. And then there's this one is a little more subtle. I may be pulling at straws on this one, but there's a shot of Buck in his room in the new house. It's at the very end. He's like tying his shoes or something before he hears like the clanks of bottles up in the attic. So he goes to investigate. But that establishing shot is really cool, first of all. But it's like the camera goes from right to left, and it kind of like starts at the wall and moves towards Buck. But the first thing we see of his room is the closet. Like it's on an angle. He's facing the closet. So it kind of goes like, zoop. So we see closet, then it lands on Buck. I just thought that was interesting. That may be that's a very subtle one, but it caught my eye. Another very subtle thing, it could be nothing. But at the end of the episode, right before Eddie gets the call from Peppa about Abuela, we see Eddie kind of like washing his hands or like drying his hands in the bathroom. But at first, it's a shot of him looking in the mirror. And that just reminded me so much of 806 and that moment where he shaves the mustache, because it's this confrontation of self in the mirror, right? And Eddie has like a little smile on his face in 806 because he's coming to terms with like, yeah, I deserve joy. I deserve good things. And then he does the whole risky business dance. So it's just like a teeny tiny little thing, but I feel like that was set as a reminder of like Eddie, who in this whole episode is trying to like find himself and his identity within his culture and spirituality or religion or anything like that. And I thought it was really interesting to have that shot start with him looking at himself in the mirror like that, because this episode is all about himself, his identity, and looking at, who he wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I got from that.
I appreciate that. I was trying to find a mustache parallel, and I was like, I got nothing.
It was all in the mirror. I'm looking at the man in the mirror.
It's the Buddiemaxxing section. And we thought we were going to have nothing but tiny little crumbs. And oh my God, we have a veritable feast. So get ready for breaking Buddy news.
News.
Speaking of, where are you? Right in front of you.
We've got some symbolism up in here. With the Bible. Look, we have such a lovely scene with Eddie and Abuela in which Abuela is basically telling him that he's not looking for certain connections in the right places, particularly the church. And then after the Abigail call, he's staring at the Bible that Bobby gave him in the locker. But lo and behold, who's behind him?
Oh, I wonder.
It's Buck.
Mm-hmm.
Because and it really connects. I feel like the whole like, where are you? Right in front of you. Like, it's not like, I don't want to call it a theme, but it's kind of like something that I think is going to be and continues to be like something that we're going to be calling back to a lot because of, I mean, I have other stuff, but one of the references is unpacking.
U-Haul theory.
So many things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know we've said it several times, but the scene outside of the church that Eddie has with Abuela, where she's like, but what is love if not a sign of God's presence? And then it's like, you were looking in the wrong place, hand over the heart. It made me think of, what is grief if not love persevering? Like, it's the same.
From WandaVision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from WandaVision.
Yeah.
It's the same like concept. And it is like, because this whole episode is wrapped up in grief, like I was like, oh, this is kind of like a thesis statement like for the 118 this season. What is grief if not love persevering? But that scene and what she said like specifically was giving that very heavily.
Yes.
And the way that I'm making that gay is that it's just the way that the rest that whole conversation is the queer coding and like, you're looking for love in the wrong places. Here I am right in front of you. And it's like the love persevering is obviously like the love that they have for Bobby, but it's also like
and it was right there, right in front of you all along. You
Exactly.
didn't have to
Mhm.
look anywhere else.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Okay, so another Buddiemaxxing moment we got was Eddie saying, "I'm trying to keep an open mind, leave room for the unknown." I mean, there's lots to unpack there, just in him saying that. But we also have like Buck looking at him, and he's doing his
What you looking at?
"what you looking at, Eddie" face, or
Mm-hmm.
just in general, like just the way he does like that bashful, like
It's his
Mhm.
flirty, faux bashful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very cute.
We have in the same episode, like 5 minutes apart from each other, Buck wearing a hoodie.
mm-hmm.
It's the first scene I think we see of him in his house, and he's wearing a hoodie that has a heart over his heart.
Aww.
And then in the same episode, we have Eddie's Abuela putting her hand over his heart and saying, "You were looking in the wrong place for that thing that you never felt."
Mm.
This is kind of a joke, but also maybe not. Because we've never actually seen, I don't think, anyone eat Buck's baking before and enjoy it other than Eddie until these snickerdoodles. Correct me if I'm wrong. Like, we see Chimney not enjoying that loaf, and we see Maddie pretending to like the cookie at the beginning of this episode before he makes them good. So I'm like, has Buck's baking actually always been bad until now, and Eddie has just always liked it because it's Buck making him things?
Yeah. I'm willing to believe
There's
it.
something about it's unconditional. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because the secret ingredient is love.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Also, Eddie gets a snickerdoodle first.
Yep. Speaking of snickerdoodles, it was a very like post-episode crazy moment for me that Eddie included snickerdoodles in the ofrenda, which is tying it back to Bobby, well, Buck and Bobby as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love that little addition. It's a little,
That's a nice touch.
it's a good little nugget in there.
Really cute.
It took me the third time watching this scene to pay attention to background Buck, but the dead guy call, where Eddie is 6 feet under because that is where Christopher Monfett loves to see him.
Thank God.
He loves to put them in
He does.
in the dirt, in the ground.
Yeah. And you know what? We applaud that. Keep doing it. It's great. But anyway, the Buck in the background of that call, is taking me the fuck out because he is just making so many faces and all of them are just like, "You're the funniest, most talented." He's us.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Actually. No, dude. I don't know if I want to make the joke, but like, because he's still like, Buck is a little blurred out, but like you can definitely tell like the guy is like, it's his like, oh my God, Eddie can do anything face. Like,
He has a silver star.
yeah. And I'm sure the view is extraordinary from his vantage point.
Oh my God.
There's so like a lot of the shots are blurry, but like at the start when Buck picks up on it, like it is a clear shot and he's just like, "Oh yeah," like Chim and Hen are like, "What the fuck is happening?" And Buck's like, "Oh, I got you." Like,
I will be the best supporting cast you could
Yeah,
ask for. Like,
and then like at the end it goes back to him again and he's just like, "That was the best thing I've ever seen." Like,
Dude, the
he's
close-up
just
shot.
So happy.
The close-up
Yeah.
shot. I was like, bro, control your face. You look
when they were
You
all
cannot-
applauding.
Yes.
Like they
Can't.
saw an amazing community theater performance.
Yeah.
Sit down, man. You're not the only one.
You're not special.
You're not special, no.
No, because that man in the grave was like, this beautiful angel ripped my shirt up and saved my life, and now I will cling to him for dear life
Are we
until
Buck
this
or are we
grieving
that
widow
guy?
yells at me.
Yes.
We're both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're both. Oh, maybe. Okay, I have a crack theory that's based on nothing, but these two looks that Eddie gives Buck, and the looks are different because like normally he's looking, even when he's like exasperated with Buck, it's like fond. You know what I mean? Like there's fondness in there. But we were trying to like look through the gift sets of the like loft scene where Eddie's like, "I'm trying to keep myself open to new things," or whatever, because we wanted to see if like right after he says that, he does that look at Buck, but it's not. What happens is he says that, and then Chim is like, what the fuck? And then says, who hurt you, shapeshifter? And then Eddie slowly looks over to Buck.
And we thought that was really interesting because we saw a gift set of that. And I was like, wait, did they slow that down? Because it looked almost like slow-mo. The way Eddie's eyes went from Chimney off screen, off shot, towards Buck. And like his head followed. So like his eyes moved first, his head followed. And it was just like almost pointed.
Yeah. And then later when Buck approaches him, like in the locker room, Eddie turns around and looks at him wearily. Like it's not like a look we're used to seeing him give Buck. So like
he snuck up on him.
Yes.
And he's usually so aware.
A crack theory is like something happened off screen that we have yet to see. Not like that. Be cool. Something happened off screen that we have yet to see. Not you, the listeners. I'm not talking about like a kiss or something like that. I'm talking about like more of a fight or something awkward or like maybe about the living situation. Something that made things even a little more tense. Maybe someone said something that hurt someone's feelings. It just seems like more than what happened in 817. So I just feel like maybe it could be nothing, but maybe there's something that we haven't seen and maybe we'll find out and have it referenced at some point.
I will say, kind of to add on to that very quickly, when we were looking at that gift set, and of course we'll link all of the things that we're referencing in the show notes and description, whatever. To me, that was the most evidence that I've seen / felt in the in support of the idea that Eddie knows that he has either like knows that he has feelings for Buck or knows that he is not so straight actually. Because personally, I don't really subscribe to that as much. I think that he's repressed everything so far deep that he's basically convinced himself that it doesn't exist.
So like it's gonna have to come up while he's unrepressing all these layers.
Exactly. So like that's generally what I think. I've used an example before where I was like, I thought I didn't like cherries, and then I tried a cherry, and it turned out I was just allergic to them. So my brain from like years and years and years ago just equated that to like not liking cherries. So like that's kind of what I project onto Eddie. But this specific like moment where he's like looking over, like, who hurt you, shapeshifter, and like looking over to Buck, that is the most evidence, and it's such a teeny tiny little itty bitty thing that I felt support the he knows already
that is
idea.
So interesting because I've never heard you guys say that before.
What?
Which part?
All of that. Actually, I
think it's the first time we're saying it. I think I hear what you're saying, Rachel. Like, it's like, I don't actually believe that, but like, that's the most proof that we would have for that.
Yeah. Like that's the most supportive evidence I've seen for that. But like, I don't prefer it.
What I think be the most likely thing that like, if this was a thing that actually they are planting to show us that something happened, I think the most likely thing would be that like Eddie didn't expect Buck to move out. And he did, and it was weird.
No, because there is still like something there.
There is precedence for it because like because the whole conversation that they had in 8-12 on the phone where Eddie was trying to come back and he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna have to borrow your couch for a little bit. I think he says like, I'm not gonna put you out or something like that.
He's like, I wouldn't kick you out.
Yeah. Buck kicked himself out.
Oh, absolutely.
Or at least try to. As far as we know.
And I just like, I don't even think it's fanfic pilled to be like, I do not think Eddie would ask him to leave.
No.
Like, especially before he had a place.
No.
But it was like, he left before he had a place, and then he had no place and wasn't living with Eddie. So he was couch surfing on someone else's. So like, I don't know, maybe it's a little weird because it's like, why did you have to leave my place to couch surf on someone else's couch when all of your shit was already here?
My couch isn't good enough for you. Him projecting on the couch.
Yeah.
Also more couch theory. There's something there.
We'll see.
Yeah.
If anything ever comes to fruition.
I mean, there's and then I guess this ties into his little self-isolation thing that he's doing.
Yes.
So
exactly. Because Buck tends to pull away. when Eddie wants to reach out.
Yeah.
They reach out to each other at different times.
The Athena parallels.
Yeah. They're just reaching out to each other at the wrong times.
Yeah. Just like I said, two ships passing in the night. I just want to point out in this little thing that Chimney says, "Who hurt you, shapeshifter?" Shapeshifter. Call back to Eddie being a werewolf for Halloween. That's
which was queer coding,
or should I say
as well?
like
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, speaking of symbolism, we're in parallels and symbolism now. Okay, so there's this edit that we'll link on TikTok. That's one of those parallel edits. I fucking love them.
Is that I don't belong to anyone or different?
No,
one?
It's the Sign of the Times one.
Oh, that one. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was thinking of something else.
It's your guy.
That's such a good one.
Yeah, it's directly paralleling the 905 disagreement that they're having about like the Ouija board, but it's not about the Ouija board. It's about Eddie and his religious drama to the fight / makeup that they had in 306 Monsters. And it's just like both of these are written by Monfett. So it's just interesting. It's the way that it's blocked and framed and shot is like beat for fucking beat. And we know for a fact that one was super intentional
in 306.
In 306.
Because that was the shot where there was like a further away shot. We talked about this in our 306 episode where the director basically confirmed that they were doing some sort of like romantic framing and blocking.
They were like, we hit our goal or our beat or whatever.
Yeah.
In response to someone saying that. Just interesting things.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities between this episode and 306 with good reason. We have the resurgence of the snickerdoodle. So I think we first heard about them in 808 when Buck just kind of like barges into Eddie's house and was like he ran out of flour or something and he was hoping he could make them some snickerdoodles and then just like basically shoves a scone in Eddie's face. And Eddie's like, this is actually pretty good, Buck. I mean, that was a scone, but compared to now, so he finally is making all of the snickerdoodles. And we have Eddie yet again say, these are great, and always just like being supportive and thinking that Buck's baking is good, especially when nobody else really thinks. And I guess that just kind of ties back to this might have been what Buck was thinking about when he was telling people that he was having trouble with the snickerdoodles. Like, no, that's from like a year ago.
We have parallels between 811 and 905 in regards to unpacking. In conversation with Maddie. Maddie is present. She is at the scene of the crime once again.
Our girl.
So we kind of are circling back to the whole like, where are you right in front of, and in response of right in front of you theme, I guess. But it's also like a twofold thing because so like what Buck likes to do is he doesn't like to unpack anything really when it comes to his feelings. I know again, this is the buddy section or whatever, but like there is a thing about like him not wanting to unpack his grief over Eddie leaving and then now like Bobby dying and his grief over that.
It means he's really gone.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's just interesting because he's coping in a similar manner of like not wanting to look into it, not looking too deeply into it, and then like spiraling and throwing himself into baking. And then like I think and then the conversations are kind of similar, right? So like in 811, Maddie is calling him out about how like, oh, you haven't even unpacked yet. And, he's been living at Eddie's house. And he's like, yeah, maybe I don't want to unpack. Because as soon as I do that, it means Eddie and Chris aren't coming back. And 905, like he's searching for something. And this is where it kind of ties back into the where are you right in front of you thing, right? So he's like, something's missing. In this case, he's talking about like the mystery ingredient for the snickerdoodles. But Maddie says, maybe if you baked less and unpacked more, unpack more, you'll be able to find things.
To us rolling our eyes.
My God, dude. And then his response to her is actually kind of a little bit interesting to me, because he's like, well, maybe you could judge less and help me look more. And then I'm like, my dude, she can only do
the best.
She's doing the best she can. She like she's been through like 8 years of this shit, man. Like she's doing that.
She's so tired.
She's tired. And
she's saying, stop using my 6-month-old as a therapist and unpack your shit.
Yeah. At least he called her out. I will say, at least he kind of got back at her by saying, stop judging me. That's why I'm like, is
fair.
he catching on a little bit? Like, you know, because yeah, like maybe at some point he could be like, dude, let me figure this out on my own. And then kind of circling back to the whole where are you right in front of you thing. Again, so Buck saying that in 8:18 and how like this can carry on thematically throughout the season. I mean, he really can't, he is searching for something and he can't find that piece that's missing because he doesn't want to unpack and look deeper. And then Eddie being the one in response saying right in front of you, which is basically Eddie is the box that he doesn't want to open and unpack all of that. So, and like,
oh, you think?
That's so interesting because all of that, and then the next point I have makes some things feel weirder. So yeah, also in 8:18, we have Buck saying, like, talking to the realtor, and she says, "So why did you leave your last place?" And he says, "It wasn't really mine. I was subletting." And then in 9:05, Dwayne says, "It's my house." And Buck goes, "No, it's not. Not anymore." And that did not feel like it was about that house.
No, it did not.
No.
At all.
No, it did not. And it was
At all.
And it was I will just say it was maybe a little bit about Bobby and how the firehouse is like in name still his house, but it doesn't feel like his anymore because he's not like there physically. But also,
they set it up in 8:18 and he was like, it's just a direct follow through of where they left off at the end of season 8. And like, then Dwayne replies, "You can't keep me out. I got it before and I'll get in again." And I was like, oh, he can't keep those feelings about Eddie out. He can't keep them contained.
And he's trying, because he's trying to keep them in the boxes, the Eddie box.
Yeah.
But they keep popping open.
Yep.
You know? And he can't stop it. Once it's a little Pandora's box situation. Like once Maddie said, once he was talking with Maddie, and was like, "Me in love with Eddie," and Maddie's like, "It wouldn't be so crazy." That box got a big old crack in it, or tear, or whatever, and it's like it's getting harder to keep it all inside.
Yeah.
U-Haul theory.
And I think really quick, this might be our last one, unless one of you has other ones.
Nope.
I've been so good about not saying this every time I've fucking said this Eddie quote the whole episode to save it. 7:04. Buck Bother Bewildered. He says, "No, I'm just, keeping my options fluid about work." Right.
So sure.
And then 9:05, Eddie's like, "I'm trying to keep an open mind. Leave room for the unknown."
Interesting.
There's a gift set that I'm just staring at right now, like, right.
It is just so interesting. And we've spoken about this at length about how Buck saying, "I'm just keeping my options fluid," while he was talking about the job. He was really speaking, that line was speaking towards his sexuality. And now you have Eddie, ultimate renowned skeptic, which everybody acknowledged, Hen and Ravi and Chimney and Buck. And
he was the first one to be like, "The fuck?"
Yeah, they were all like, "Huh?" Like all of their reactions were just like that math gif of all of the equations, just like,
literally,
what is happening? Are we in a parallel universe right now? So for Eddie to be keeping an open mind for the unknown, that does sound remarkably similar to keeping your options fluid.
So interesting. Now this leads us to our what if or Buddie Forecast. what do we see in the future? This is full of like nothing. We don't have, this is kind of more of like maybe a little bit of a combo of maybe this is where it could go from here / a wish list for today. I don't know. I'm not as confident about these as the last one I did. You guys let me know how delulu they are.
This is why we call it a forecast.
Yeah, and it does say clownery going forward.
Because even meteorologists can be wrong. Because the weather changes.
I did mention it earlier, but I'm going to mention it again here. I don't know. I don't think the chances of this being how they bring Gay Eddie to fruition are high, but they're never zero. But they've perfectly primed his unrepression with this episode to tie it back to religion in some way. And I can't stop thinking about the childhood memory that traumatized him so deeply he repressed it. It would just be so easy. They could do that in one episode.
It could be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It would be very easily done, I think.
So easily.
I don't know that they would do it, but like...
No, but they could. And they set it, like, they just set up so much in this episode that I was like, I don't think you're going to do this, but you could.
Mm-hmm.
And so I live in fear / anticipation of that small possibility. And then there was a little something happening the way that like at the dead guy call, I love the dead guy call, at the dead guy call where like Eddie was looking at Chim and Hen, like up above him being so in sync.
Yes.
Again,
oh, I noticed that too.
Mm-hmm.
And like the way he was looking at him, it made it seem like he was feeling a certain type of way about that. And I was like, maybe he's going to be feeling on the outside of like his regular dynamic, everything soon. So like maybe he's going to feel a little bit out of the dynamic that he's building with Hen because it's not actually solid. And like the dynamic that she has with Jim is still there. And the next episode, we're pretty sure we're getting.
We're not pretty sure.
No, we're sure. No,
I don't think we are sure.
No,
What?
You're talking about the gym scene and the speed dating? Well, the alleged speed
not
dating?
speed dating. No, they're just going to be at a restaurant together. They're not speed dating.
Okay, never mind. I'll shut up then.
No. No, we know there's going to be 2 Ravi and Eddie scenes allegedly in the next episode in 906.
But who knows?
Because I don't know. The synopsis is not giving us anything.
No, it's not.
And neither is
Athena
the
and
trailer,
Hen.
but we can never trust either of those.
No.
So who fucking knows? But anyway, like we saw in this episode how much Ravi gets Buck, and Eddie has always been the Buck whisperer, like the one who knows him the best. But this episode really showed us that like Ravi has his fucking number, and like they have their own, like they work really well together. They're obviously friends outside of work. Like Ravi is willing to spend his Halloween sitting in Buck's sad, not unpacked or decorated house, calling him an idiot through a Ouija board. You know, that's platonic love. So I don't know. I think we could be getting a little, I don't think jealous Eddie, but just like a feeling kind of like, oh, I might feel weird about
outside
this.
of the
I
dynamic.
feel outside of the dynamic.
See, that's so interesting because like the way I took that scene, I mean, I can see where you're coming from with the Buck Ravi now that we had that scene at Buck's house, but like at the dead guy call, like I saw Chimney having like Eddie's back immediately to play along. That's what I saw.
Or Chimney having Eddie's back?
Yeah, Chimney. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sure. I was talking about the part where they were like doing the medical diagnosis, which was the part that Eddie and Hen are supposed to do together now. So it was like they slid right back into that dynamic.
But you know what's also,
that's what I was talking about.
But you know what's also interesting is the way, again, like this is what they've been doing since the beginning of the season. Even though like Buck and Eddie aren't even like direct partners, it's still like they're partners in a way because they are so closely framed together. And I just find that very interesting.
That is like literally Buck was in the background of the shot of Eddie like the whole time.
So there's that, but there's also in the demon possession call, he was next to him almost the entire time. So it's just, and then, you know, during the stuff in 902, actually, and a lot of them,
it's kind of following through on that same dynamic that we saw in 806 Confessions, where they were framed very close together, but they did not necessarily exchange a lot of words. In that episode, they didn't exchange any. But then it ended up being significant at the end on the couch. So it's that continuation of framing them close together, even when like professionally, partner wise, maybe like friendship wise or other, like emotionally, they're a little more distant. But like visually, they're still right. They can't get away from each other.
They're still in each other's orbit.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, so into the looking glass, where we have a couple things to keep in mind. Basically, this whole episode, literally everything we learned about Eddie in this episode, continuing the beats that they are threading through from several earlier seasons. Speaking of which, we have a couple like season parallels, like in between seasons. So
one of our parallels is the phone call that Eddie, the phone call that we get to see in the flashback in 817, paralleling with the phone call that we get with about Abuela in 905. All the parallels between, I guess, like this little outburst or like what the culmination of like that Ouija board thing between Buck and Eddie, and then like 306 monsters, and they were more like reconciling, and this is them not necessarily, but they weren't even fighting either. It was just, I think it was reasonable, the reaction.
Yeah, also just like the reference of 306 and having that be connected to the lawsuit, and we saw Buck be kind of acting out of anger and threatening to like, press the charges, just kind of like felt a little familiar to me. And also, of course, with season 3, Eddie's grieving parallels with grieving Shannon after the end of season 2 is interesting to see that dichotomy there.
We also have to me, it's a very clear chapter or closing. We're closing the chapter on the book for the whole Shannon and Kim stuff, because I think I think it was pretty much closed in 709 because everything shifted back to Christopher in that whole situation. And I think with the Ofrenda, I think it really, really put like a period in it, because Eddie is the one putting Bobby and Abuela in the Ofrenda, like he's the one carrying them onto this tradition, and then Christopher is the one who is putting Shannon onto the Ofrenda as well. I really think that we're done with this chapter.
Yeah. I have a lot of thoughts on that for another time.
Yep.
When Eddie and Peppa were waiting, after Abuela had passed away, and they're waiting for someone to like pick her up, that kind of sparked similar to me, where the mom who was passing away called for the paramedics, and Chimney and Hen showed up, and the mom called for them to be with her daughter while that happened. And I forget the episode, and I tried to find it earlier, but that just kind of felt like a similar thing to me in some way.
So a couple of things of what we know, what's coming next. 906 is called Family History. It's going to air November 13th. The synopsis says Athena must revisit a painful part of her past when answering a call for help. Meanwhile, the 118 takes a big step forward. To me, that's giving, at least the 118 part is giving Chimney. Athena revisiting a painful part of her past. Man, what else could it be?
What else can they pull out of there? Oh, man. Other than that, is like, go girl, give us nothing, like usual. And then, because that will be the mid-season finale, our next episode after that will not be until January 8th, 2026. And we don't have a title or anything for that. And I think the only thing that we kind of know for certain, and this is because of a picture of the call sheet for the production code episode 910. And it looks like that will be written by both Christopher Monfett and Taylor Wong, which is really interesting because they're both like kind of specialties are Eddie and Buck respectively. So it seems like that's going to be like a really interesting pair up, especially with the emphasis on all of the kind of like jinx, cursed spirituality stuff they've got going on this season.
I call them both Eddie's specialties.
They're both Eddie's specialties. Yeah.
Like I mean, like I know Taylor has written, you know, storylines, but I think like the focus is normally Eddie.
Oh yeah,
more.
because of like Jinx and Curse and stuff like that. So that's going to be a really interesting team up.
Yeah. Crazy combo. We also have a couple of leaks or behind the scenes. There has been some filming at where the set for the firefighter training center is. So we'll probably most likely see Harry at the academy.
Yay, which is what we always wanted.
Yep.
And we have a couple things on our wish list. Because we're getting so many different combos with characters that we don't typically see, this would be the time for a Maddie and an Eddie scene. Please let this be the year. Just want to see them interact.
Like, to be honest, this wish list is very Eddie pilled. So we need more Eddie POV, more Eddie voiceover, more Eddie in white, more wet Eddie. I'm not saying the other one. More Slut Strand. Yeah.
Just do
it all.
This, but more, please. Please, Tim.
This episode, more
of this.
Of all this.
More, please.
Less stuff.
But, you know, forward. Yeah.
More
forward. Less death. Thank you.
Yeah,
but like
basically our dear
this
Tim.
energy, take this energy. Like it's so good. I love to feel insane and just not sleep for 2 days because I can't stop thinking about Eddie. It's great.
Your book is showing. To get my book is
Who's
showing
shocked?
too.
Fair. Mm-hmm. Totally fair.
Yeah.
So basically just all of this, but like more because it was so good. And again, just like bravo to everything
Everyone
and
involved.
everyone.
Thank you so much.
in this episode.
But like especially shout out to Christopher Monfett, Emmy Savard, and of course Brian. Like
yes.
Truly like
yes.
powerhouse. That was it's an amazing episode.
That is a powerhouse combo. Like, keep it coming.
I'm excited to see where this sits in my favorite episodes since I sit with it for a while. But I'm just like right now, I'm just like, this is my favorite. I'm like, this and 8-11 are here for me right now.
And we really do have to do a mini-sode series where we like get some of the best episodes per character to like really give you like.
Oh yeah, someone asked for
insight.
that on Tumblr and we said we were going to do it.
Yeah. This is going in there.
Privately, we said we were going to do it.
We need to answer that and be like,
I need someone to create one of those
good.
sort games, but per season, and then we'll take the top 10 so it can be easier for us because I feel like, oh wait, top 10 for seasons 1 and 7 are anyway, you know.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
I have to go to sleep, guys. It's 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yep.
This was such a great episode that we recorded, but like a great episode about a great episode. It was so much fun. It was so much fun to talk about all the death and the dying and the religious trauma.
Yeah, it was great therapy.
And the grief, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was not expecting
I didn't fully cry in the episode. I think I only had like, tears and dabbed at them. You know what I mean? Like,
dab.
I didn't like ugly cry. I really thought I was going to like fully cry.
Listen, it was rough topics, and I think we wanted to be a little serious, maybe.
Yeah.
I think we did enough crying last night, a couple hours ago,
and
several hours ago.
Yeah.
I will probably cry again today/tomorrow.
Watch me watch this episode again and start bawling my eyes out again.
Every time.
Remember, don't bury yourself in someone else's grave.
But if you do,
take a buddy or a paramedic with you.
Yay!
Okay, good night.
Thank you for listening to the Buddy System podcast.
Can't get enough of the buddies? Subscribe to our Patreon for access to our Discord community, full reaction videos, and even more exclusive content.
And if you really want to make our day, leave a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
Please come yap with us on your favorite social media platform.
We're at Buddy System Pod everywhere. That's BUDDIE System Pod.
Catch you next time. And don't forget,
Bring a buddy with you.